Hi everyone, welcome to our IG Live. Hope all is well. If you're tuning in, let me know if you can hear me. As a reminder, my name is Justina. I'm the founder of WERULE, where we connect female founders to mentors, investors, and business opportunities. We are waiting for our guest, Vanessa. She is having some difficulties in joining the live, but hopefully she'll be with us in a second. Let me know if you can hear me. Oh yes, I think she's, okay, perfect, she joined. So hopefully we'll be able to add her in a second. Instagram is, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's always a gamble. But I think we can make it work. Perfect. Let me try one more time. Oh, yay! Hello!
Hi.
How are you?
Good. Yeah, well, sorry, when I asked where, it didn't come up as live on my end for some reason. I just saw your stories, but now I'm here now.
Oh, gotcha. Sometimes that happens to Rahana. I tell her, the live is posted, and she's like, oh, I can't see it yet. So yeah. I'm just saying, like, the Instagram live is sometimes a little bit of a gamble. So you just have to, go with the flow. But yes, right. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm super excited to connect with you. We're all excited to learn a little bit more about what you do. So just to kick it off, can you just introduce ourselves, tell us who you are, what you do?
Sure, absolutely. So my name is Vanessa. I'm the CEO and publisher of East End Taste Magazine. We're a digital, sustainable travel and food publication based in the Hamptons and in the UK part-time. And I'm also the founder of the annual Hamptons Interactive Brunch. It's an event that takes place out in the Hamptons, usually every July. Our last event was in 2019. Our inaugural event was in 2018. And I'm intending to do an event in 2022.
Mm-hmm. So yes, coming soon though. I can't believe it's already, August almost.
So we start planning this fall.
Oh yes. And it's, it's a lot. We've done a few events in the past and it's, it's so much work. People think it's, just throw an event together, it's going to be great. But it's so many moving pieces. Right. So you're my hero.
Oh gosh, thank you. Yeah, the one thing I truly, if anyone were to, if I would want anyone to know anything about events, it's really like, think about, maybe if you've gotten married, if you've thrown a big, reunion party or, 90th birthday for that, elder, it's multiply those types of by 5 and in comparison to planning a wedding every year.
Oh yes, exactly. And it's just like one event, right? Now imagine like planning like fundraisers, all that stuff. Yeah, I try to do it, but it takes a special kind of a person. So
a lot of and you're juggling multiple tasks. You're in marketing, sales. You're jumping between both, and you're fundraising, and there's so much involved. And it always is nice, I will say, when people do reach out, they go wow, and then when that wow is so genuine, they truly know what it entails.
Yes. Because, creating an event and creating a great event when people have, a lot of fun, they meet a lot of people. It's also, like takes a special, kind of planning because, we can invite people into a room, but then what else, right? Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So my first question kind of is, let's go all the way back. And I love to, yes, that's one of our questions to coming soon. But my first question for you is, let's go back like all the way to your childhood. Did you ever think you were going to do what you're doing today? And like, what was like your big dream when you were little?
That's a great question. Yeah. So I love writing. I love in a sense, hiding behind my, not really hiding behind my laptop, but really just delving into my stories and creativity and fiction writing. That really is where the heart and soul is. That is something that I do intend to probably sooner than later go back into. Is focused really on my fiction writing and continuing with that craft. I've been writing novels since I was in my early teens. I had one published when I was 17, and I started writing literally ever since I could hold a pencil. And even then, if I didn't know how to write per se, I was drawing out the stories in the best of my ability.
Oh, wow. That's so amazing. You know what? I'm kind of similar. I love telling stories, but I have a design background. So I went to Parsons. Yeah. And I can tell a story with pictures. When I'm putting, for example, like any decks together, they're never boring. There's always all this imagery. So it's just something, nice. Like it's like a great skill to have and like a great passion to have to be able to tell a story, right?
Yes, that's it.
Yes, exactly. So you're running two businesses right now, right? So you're running the East End Taste and the Hamptons Interactive Brunch.
Yeah,
How did you come up with the ideas, and like which one started first, and why did
sure.
you even decide to run two things at the same time?
Oh gosh, yeah. So East End Taste started originally as a blog, and I literally just wanted to start something for fun. I did a lot of freelance writing at the time for different publications, but a lot of what people don't see is the constant pitching. You know, you're dealing with rejection constantly, searching out opportunities. There's a lot of research involved. It's very, very time consuming, and I just kind of took a step back. And this is at the time when a lot of writers weren't getting paid for their work, or they were getting paid so minimal. I think it unfortunately is the case still now, though I certainly would not tolerate that. That's absolute no. But that was in the very beginning of, just a couple of years out of graduate school. I was in my mid-20s, and I said, well, what am I going to do? I need clips. It was like a catch-22 of, well, you need clips to write, and to write, you need clips. So I said, well, why don't I just start my own thing? And if people really want to see how I write and my style, they could go to my website. And that's exactly what I did. And what was happening, though, is how it grew completely organically. I have no marketing background. I don't know anything about Instagram or social media. I remember someone said, oh, you're going to need an Instagram page. And I said, absolutely not. I don't have time. No, it's not happening.
It takes a lot of time.
And
it's a full-time job too. That's another full-time job.
now I have people that run the accounts. I don't have to see more, thank goodness. And they just go with the flow. I mean, but that's a whole other story. I mean, how Instagram's algorithm has changed, and so I don't have time. I don't have time for that. Like, but I see the best growth right now on our Pinterest page, which I find very interesting. That's where we're focusing most of our time. But I digress. So. What was happening is that I was going on assignment for other freelance writing gigs, and people would naturally ask me, what do I do? Where how can I find you? And I would give them these business cards that I had made up, and it said East End Taste on them. And people would say, oh, what's this? And I'd say, oh, it's my website. And they would go, oh, cool, I'll check it out. And then what would happen is, naturally after, if I were going to an event or going to a function of some kind, or a restaurant to meet, who the manager, the chef, or the owner, they would say to me, oh, we'd love for you to come back. And I would, kind of step back and go, oh gosh, well, that depends upon my editor. That depends upon my assignment. And I'm thinking to myself, sure, I'd love to. They said, no, we want you to come back for your own website. And I was like, wow, okay, cool. So this is a lot of fun in the beginning. But then the serious stuff, came into play when people were asking me, well, how is revenue being generated? I'm going, you can make money doing this. Mm-hmm. I literally said that out loud. And they're like, of course you can. And they said you can do quite well, actually, if you know how to, if you have a valuable content. That's what it comes down to. And they said that, and that's exactly what you have. And I said, we're going back now almost 5+ years ago. And I'm going, what? How do you do that? And
you're like, interesting. So I can, I could love doing this, and I can make money. Tell me more.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going, wait, you could actually make money. I thought, like, what? That's kind of straight. Like, so people would, could you imagine? Nowadays people are probably like, oh, haha, like that's, of course, that, duh. But back then, I was very confused. I said, what do you mean? I ask people. But then I remember thinking to myself, but I love what I do so much. Why would I? It was like almost like double dipping, like I'm getting paid to do what I love. And anyway, it sounded totally crazy at the time. But now, yeah, that's how we, that's how it works.
Yeah, that's how it works. And to be honest, that's my experience as well. It's sometimes better to just start something you love and then figure out how to make money. Because for WERULE, we did the same thing with Rahana. We started 5 years ago as a blog, as an Instagram account. Yeah. And we were like, we just love female founders. We want to help them in any way possible. So that's what we've been doing, and we never thought about money. And all of a sudden, money started flowing in, and we were also loving what we were doing. And, we were just saying like, wow, what a win-win, Hi, Rahana, we're just talking about you. So basically that's the best way to start it. Do you think so? Or because a lot of people go like, oh, you have to figure out the money first and then you have to do it,
Absolutely. Because, well, with the event though, that, to be honest, that's immediately what I was thinking was money. You have to, but it's, people think, you must make a lot of money doing the events. I get that phrase a lot. Yes. Sure, but you want to know how much it costs? And I'll figure out there. They go,
no.
Just
the venue is crazy, right? Just the venue,
Just the venue, not the site fee. for the venue. And I'm like, how about this? Well, how about step and repeat? How much are the gift bag? How much is security? How much is marketing? We need an advertising budget, marketing, but so it's like, are you making money? Well, you're spending also hundreds of hours putting it together. So
yeah, so it's like, it just, it just depends.
it's
It's probably like, it's not going to make you a billionaire, but maybe
right.
like an opportunity comes from it. Maybe it'll make you, so it depends. Yeah.
I make higher dividends in the stock market, and I don't have that much money in the stock market. So
yeah.
I should
That's
technically
fine.
just money. I should just technically just keep putting money in there, or money into another investment opportunity. But it's like, what do you want? Do you want liquid asset, or do you want a brand that's well known, that's well respected, and that puts together a great function? And that's I want the latter, honestly, in the end.
Exactly. And what you're doing is you're building your personal brand, which is, the most important. Because I feel like, and tell me if you agree with me or not, I always say that if you build your personal brand, even if you build a blog that stands up for something, or if you keep working on it, something will come out of it, and that's better than just saying like, oh, I had this job or that job and whatever, right?
That's it. Absolutely. I mean, I've been there, done that as far as working jobs. And what do you get? Oh yeah, I worked at XYZ company. Well, that's nice.
Yeah. And
yeah, who are you really helping? To be quite honest, you're helping them. You're not helping yourself. You're helping the bills. But I mean, first and foremost, my children are I have a 7-year-old daughter and my 3-year-old son. And in the beginning, I was working very, very hard. I mean, I still am working hard, but in a sense where I was away from my children a lot because my husband was still in residency, not making a lot of money, and it was tough. And I had to, pull in a secondary income, which was teaching fitness classes, but I was away from them a lot. And if I had them with me, I literally would bring, when I would teach, there's a program I used to teach called Les Mills. And it's a great fitness program. But I would literally have my daughter in the back, in a stroller in the back of the, of the and at the time I was teaching at a big gym, and they allowed me to do that because childcare, what was it, 25 bucks an hour minimum for a babysitter? That's what I was making per class. So.
Exactly. So you're just basically working for the babysitter, which kind of doesn't make sense. But yeah. And you know what? Back, like, even a few years ago, that was such a strange thing to just like, like mix your children with work. But now I feel like with the pandemic, you see it more and more often, kids popping up on Zoom. And, the other day I was in a meeting with this lady, and her baby just crawled into the room, and she had to like pick her up, So I feel like it's becoming more normalized, and I think that's okay,
Yes, I I feel like in a way I kind of help, lead that, because I would bring when I taught cycling, it was my son wasn't born yet, but I would have to bring her. I had no choice. People understood. I'm quite actually very, very grateful for that. Very grateful.
Yeah. And that's great. I think it's going to help, a lot of people just manage their lives. So that's awesome. So someone asked this question already, I believe, up here. And that's my next question for you. So with running these two businesses, so one is a publication, the other one is an event business, what is your favorite part about it? And then what do you think is the most challenging?
My favorite part about it is I love interacting with different people. I love making people happy. And I love seeing people's smiles on their faces. I love creating content for them and generating information that is helpful, that people will come to me. Vanessa, I would have never have known, speaking particularly about East End Taste, like that restaurant in London, I happened to not know where to go, and I found that place. It was because of you. I wouldn't have known about X, Y, and Z if it weren't for you. And wow, they said that, and people have come up to me like, wow, you have no idea how much you helped me. And it's very random. Sometimes I'll get emails from people all over the world. People say to me, oh, I thought the Hamptons was just a place, this place, but no, you've shown me a different side. Or, and now speaking in regards to the event, when people in the past would come to them and they would go, I had the best time. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for allowing, the opportunity to be a sponsor, to be a, and especially for the beneficiaries for the events, we're able to help them, and whether that's a whole other story. It's fundraising is certainly not easy, and the little bit that we're going to give to them after everything's said and done, you know, they're like, wow, you gave us that exposure we needed. You got our name out there. Now, if it weren't for you, we wouldn't have been able to do X, Y, and Z. So it's really, it's that. The challenging thing is really, it's always a bummer in the beginning when you think you have this really, you have this awesome, you know, platform that is the event. And when you try to sell it to people, they're just like, nah, I'm good.
Like, we don't get it.
No,
It happens all the time, right? But I feel like that's something that you just have to get used to, because some people will love your brand and some people are like, oh my God, sign me up yesterday.
Right.
I'm in.
Yeah.
And some people are like, why are you doing this? I don't get it.
Yeah.
And for me in the beginning, for me, it was so tough because I was like, what do you mean you don't get it? It's so easy. But I just, for example, for me, I just learned to move on. I'm like, okay, next. Because you want to work with people who get it, right?
Yeah, it's always, at the beginning it was such a bummer because I would have these brands, like, so for when I was in the first year that we did it, I'd be pitching brands that I love, like with like in the city. I'm like, they're gonna love this. So I would, you know, call up, you know, business ABC and say, you know, we're doing this thing, you know, in the Hamptons. But then all of a sudden, you would literally the next season or later in the season see that they like did a pop up out here, but did their own thing, and I'd be like,
oh my God, I know.
I know so many that did that, and it was because they would try to like pick your brain on the phone. And there was one time where I don't want to say who they are because I think people would be like, oh, no, and, yeah. So I want to be careful, but yeah, I wanted them to, and our sponsorship packages are not that much money. I mean, compared to, you know, like say it's the cost of some of these places like putting in like fixing their awning, you know, is a very good example I give, and I find out that they like dropped all this in this like little like shack place that you would never even have seen them. Nobody ever knew they were there. Mm-hmm. And it's like
really that's what you ended up doing.
It's like, it's so cool that you're at XYZ hotel, but like nobody. I was at another event and like people were like walking right past them because of where they're located. I would have told them, don't do it. You're wasting your time. Sure enough, they never came back.
Exactly. And especially for you that you know the market. So sometimes people, even that they're coming from the city to the Hamptons, but they don't understand the Hamptons because it's like a whole new world out there, you know? And they don't know. And, you know, they could have worked with you and made such better decisions. So
absolutely. And I don't tell a lot of people this. I've lived out here either part-time or full-time for over 30 years. I know that Hamptons inside and out. And I will be very straight, honest. You're going to get ripped off. You do this. This is what you, and even if the event is not the best thing, that's okay. I will be more than happy to point them in the right direction. Like, Vanessa, I really don't have a budget. I'm looking to do something just in kind. What could I do? And I would say, well, I would say you could do X, Y, and Z, but I'll be really honest. Out here, it's costly. Very costly.
It's costly, and then you have to know the right people because you don't know, right?
And I'm giving you the, you know, literally just, and what's, you know, kind of awesome about the brunch too, it's really turnkey. Because I already have, you know, East End Taste as a platform. There's that whole other marketing component to it. So there's so much that can be done. And the biggest thing I always want to point out too is never be afraid to negotiate. I negotiate all day long. That's all I do is negotiate. And I'll send people our ad deck, and they're like, it's too expensive. And I'll sometimes, depending upon where, you know, I'll say, what's your like an open-ended, what's your budget? But usually they go way too low when I say that. So and that just doesn't make any sense for any of us. So what I usually do is I'll say, well, and I do a price. What usually will hook people is when I do a price comparison. Well, if you're going to do straight Facebook advertising, you're paying this. You're probably going to this because it's like throwing, you know, sprinkles, I say, on the ground, see where they land, on what square they land. Versus you're with me, I have a curated group on Facebook of over 2,000 people that are that want to know this information. They're vying for this information. You're going to get
exactly. You're not targeting just random people out there. So you know what? I have a question for you. So you talked about the sponsorships a little bit. So for people who do have, maybe they want to be a sponsor, they want to get a sponsor. Like, what advice would you have for them? You know, sometimes people say, you know, usually ask for twice the amount that you would normally ask, because I know people, a lot of women who, you know, who ask for, oh, I'll take $1, where they should be asking for 100, you know? So what advice do you have for like sponsorships and partnerships?
Absolutely. So just to be very, very honest, in order for us to get a title sponsorship, you're going to expect 40, 50 plus phone calls back and forth. And remember, the money is not there until the check clears, until you see the money in the bank. Otherwise, I've had one, the credit card didn't go through. I had another one,
Wow.
check never arrived in the mail. So that's those are whole other stories. I'm being very, very honest. And the reason I really want to help people. It's not all, easy peasy at all. In order for us to get one of our title sponsors, that was a 50 plus back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You're going up the chain of command, then you're going down the chain of command, going up and down, up and down.
Back and
Finally,
forth, yes.
out of nowhere, we get the check in the mail. And we're like looking at it, but then you go to deposit, wait, 5-7 business days, boom, it clears. Okay, you're good. But
Now,
then what?
next.
Yeah, but so it's not easy. Like people love to say that do events. They love to say, oh, it's so easy to get sponsors. Oh, you don't have that many sponsors? That's nonsense. That's nonsense. Lies. They're lying to you. They're lying. I'm just gonna be really honest. They're lying. It's not easy. If it were easy, there would be a line out the door to do this, and there's not a line out the door.
Exactly, and that's what I said too. Like even in business, right? The reason why not everyone is an entrepreneur and the reason why not everyone is successful, because it's literally not easy, and people have to realize that, and you have to be committed to it, right? So even from getting a sponsor to like running a business, you have to have that commitment, and you just have to do it,
That's it. And then as far as make sure you have a very solid ironclad contract. Everything is in there. There is no hole that can be filled. Like, oh well, it wasn't said, but not even I have my cousin's a JAG in the Navy, so I usually have him read my contracts, and I have my uncle's a retired lawyer. He's a St. John's professor, so I have him read everything. So that I'm one of those, like, I have everything ironclad. So a good friend of mine taught me that many years ago. So that's one thing. And remember too, if you never signed it, this is the biggest thing I throw. If there's no contract signed, you don't owe them anything. Nothing. You didn't sign anything. They could threaten to sue. Oh, I'll sue. And now we're getting into legality, and such. But no, they can't do anything to you. They could say whatever they want and throw any words around. Nothing's happening. Trust me.
True. And you know what? When, people are like, oh, great, let's collaborate, let's partner, amazing. But then when money comes to the table, people change like this, you never know, who's going to come after. So that's actually very great advice that people wouldn't think about for events, right?
Right, absolutely. Like, never offer anyone favors. Like, sometimes, like, in the way beginning, I felt like I was really, truly, too nice to people. And one person's like, well, you promised that you would do this, and now I'm going to get you. And I'm like, yeah, try. Okay. Like, you're, I'm being very honest. That can be the mentality out here. You're dealing with people that are not, we call them lightweight crazies. But
it's true, and sometimes, especially when you're starting, you have to protect yourself, because it's like you're just starting on your own, let's say, right? Or like you have a partner and you're like, please, I'm just starting, like, why are you coming after me? I'm trying to build something great, just leave me alone.
They don't care. They just want money. And all they want is just money, and they're just, so you have that end of it. That was a little scary. It was a little kind of, not to say scary in the beginning. It was honestly more funny, if anything, but it's not fun, when you have to, be careful. So I'm just being very, very honest with people. Just please be careful. And if anyone is doing any events for the first time, I'm more than happy to give you like a quick, 10, 15 minute, like, boom, just be careful, X, Y, and Z.
Like a little checklist, right?
Right, exactly. Let's see. And then, let's see, as far as, the positives, it's really when it all comes together and you see all the work that was done. And there's nothing I love more than great press coverage. I love that. In fact, I focus more on the press coverage and pitching it as an event than anything else. That's a whole other story. That is not easy, because I'll tell you think that, of course XYZ journalist wants to come. Of course this publication wants to come. Unless you have, I don't know, whoever, some big celebrity at the event, they don't care.
Yeah.
And we've had some minor, we've had some good people, and we've had some great coverage. But, when you try to pitch, like, so-and-so is going to be there, and they're like, no. And they could be, like, really awesome. They're like, nah, it's not so-and-so.
Yeah. So,
okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I have a question for you. So a lot of people, like, it's 50-50, and I wonder, what you think about it. People say that, press doesn't matter, or some people say press really helps. What is your stance on that? Like, what is your hack?
Press.
Yes?
As much press as you can, much press as you could get. There is no such thing as not enough press. Get as much as you can. I love it. I love it. Like when I go to events, I go right for that Getty photographer. And I go, hello. Hello.
Hello, best friend.
I am, and if I can't seem to wrangle my way through and get to them, I will usually at somebody I know very well. I'll say, can you tell me? Can you? And I'll walk with them and we'll get a photo on the red carpet because it's so essential. Because people will want to see what events do you go to. So they want to see you have to, in order to build your brand and your name, you have to get out there. You have to get in front of the camera. And I'm so, I hear like, oh, but I don't like that. I don't want to be, I don't like the camera. I don't like the camera. Well, you're in the wrong business.
Yeah. Just do it. You have to be out there, right? Because there's always someone else out there who's going to be more out there and that's going to get all the people. And there you go, right? You have to do what you have to do. So for the networking part, my next question for you is, so for the networking part, a lot of people say that your network is your net worth and, you run a networking platform. How important is that, for your business to constantly meeting people? And how would you recommend that people meet the right people? Because you can meet random people and they can help you with random things, but how do you make sure that it's like the right, crowd you're meeting?
Sure. I mean, what I would first recommend is direct referrals. So when you are close with someone that you already trust and they introduce you to someone, chances are that person is legit and good. There are a lot of people out here. I mean, really anywhere in the world, but in the Hamptons in particular, there are a lot of talk and no action. And I have a laundry list of names that I could like run down. I'm not, of course, but they're out here. And if I were to name, now we're getting a little gossipy, but if say who some of them are, you're like, oh yeah, no, they're great, they're good, and it's like, you don't know them like I know them.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm not speaking about anyone in particular. In general, I've been doing this for so many years. There's a lot of nonsense out here, and people say, oh, I know someone. I can get you the biggest phrase I've heard so many times. Oh, Vanessa, I can get you like 5 sponsors by next week. None came through.
Really?
None. Zero.
Yeah.
And what's been funnier is at the last few that were like, oh, I've gotten like so many sponsors for this one, but they're lying. And I said, you do? Great. I'll give you 40% commission. And
which
they
is
almost,
great.
That's very good. And they were like, what? I go, 40%. You said by next week, you do that. That is my promise. And we shook hands on it. Did not deliver.
Crickets.
Beyond crickets. I think the cricket died. You even hear the crickets?
Yeah, the crickets are not even in the mix. Right?
Crickets leave the show.
Yeah. And you know what? I think I saw that you're doing an event. Like one person that I can think of that is like the queen of just networking and putting herself out there is Jean Shapiro. Like I feel like Jean is just I know, but I feel like she is there. She shows up. She's everywhere. She's building her brand. I'm sorry?
You got it. She shows up. She shows up. That's it.
Exactly. Like she's one of the people that I can think of that is just like she's there. She's at an event. You invite her. She does her thing. She gets in front of the camera. And I feel like she's like a great example of like how you can build your brand. One person that I can just think of the top of my head. Yeah.
It's amazing. She's an amazing person to know. I have had the pleasure of interviewing her, and I'd call her a semi acquaintance of mine, but she is someone I look up to. And I was just at her home at an event 2 weeks ago. My God, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, just the epitome of. I mean, she's an incredible woman. She's extraordinarily hardworking. She shows up, and she has a cute, super cute rescue dog, a very supportive husband, family. And there's a great circle of people around her. But most importantly, she's kind-hearted. She's genuine, and she shows up.
Exactly, and she shows up. Yes. Cheers to that with my coffee. So just to close this out, this was so wonderful. We have a few more rapid fire questions for you, and just to close off the interview, what is one piece of general advice for life that you would give someone? Like just one good piece of advice.
That is never ever give up, and there's always somebody out there that believes in you.
Hmm. You just
Always.
have to find them.
You have to
Yeah.
find, and they're, oh, and most importantly, it's not coming to you. No matter how good
Hmm.
you are, no matter how talented you are, no matter how beautiful you are, or how kind you are, they are not coming to you. It's not coming to you. You have to go to them.
Hmm. Exactly, exactly, exactly. And you know what? I love that because I love this, like the positive thinking and, knowing your goals and like even manifesting or whatever.
Yeah,
But if you don't go for it and you don't show up and you don't ask for that opportunity, it's just no one's going to be just like randomly like, oh my God, let me message this random person about this thing, because I
right.
know that's their goal. So I think that's a great piece of advice. That's awesome. So rapid fire questions are just 4 questions, and they're meant to just be like one sentence, one word, and they're fun. And you haven't seen them before, so they're surprise. They're a surprise from Rahana. So, what is the best compliment you ever received?
Was let's see, the best compliment was just like you did good, kid. But it
Mm-hmm.
said a lot more than that. That was from my grandpa.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's so sweet. That's so sweet. It's the best when like your family, has your back. Yeah, so that's awesome. Next question is, what is the most adventurous thing you've ever done? Like
Oh,
food wise, or jumped off the plane, or
yeah, I just went to Iceland and I hiked a glacier. I would say
oh,
that
that's so
definitely
cool.
capped that off.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so awesome. I would probably slide all over the place. So I don't know if I would ever go. So to me, that's very adventurous. Next question is, if you could have one person dead or alive at a dinner, like who would it be?
Um, let's see, Freddie Mercury.
Oh my God, I love him. I think I saw that movie Bohemian Rhapsody like 7,000 times.
I have that playing. If I have nothing else, if I have not, there's nothing else on TV. I literally put the DVD in and just let it play.
I know, it's so good. And you know what? My go-to song that I listen to every single day when I need to pump myself up for work is "I Want It All." Like that's my song. I'm just like,
He's
yes,
so good.
let's go. Last question is, what is like one thing from your childhood, like an item that you still have that you kept, or like something that you remember, like a toy?
Now my children have. I would say this teddy bear I've had on my bed forever. It's so funny how my children just take to it and they all like hug it and carry it around. And I literally had it ever since I was born. And it's so funny how
Oh,
they seem to gravitate.
oh, that's cute. That's cute. That's a good item. So no, thank you so much for your interview. Just one last thing. How can we support you? Where can we find you? If you could let us know, that would be awesome.
Yes, absolutely. So here on Instagram, most major social networking platforms: Twitter, Pinterest, Facebook, at East End Taste, and of course our website eastendtastemagazine.com.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Vanessa, for joining us. Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye now.